Dude, I hate making commentary content. Does anybody else hate making commentary content but likes watching it? Like, people that make commentary content make it look so easy. I know people that probably watch Penguin Zero, Charlie, probably one of my favorite content creators, just like the rest of the world. He makes it look so easy. And I hope that after the millionth time I've done it, it'll be even easier. Over the weekend, I saw Tony Hawk skate. That was really cool. And I wanted to talk about how hard it is to see your heroes growing up, because something that was really hard to watch, and this has actually been pretty consistent the last 2 years that I've seen Tony, this is my third time seeing Tony Hawk skate, is he's bailing out of his tricks a lot more. It's getting hard for the Birdman, you guys. It's difficult, man. He bailed out of a couple tricks, and, you know, I saw him bust a 540. We saw an airwalk at Christ Air. We saw some cool stuff. But seeing him bail out of his tricks was like, dang, he's getting up there. He's getting old. It's hard, man. I don't know. Coincidentally, too, I saw one of my favorite guitarists this past month, Buckethead. He and Tony Hawk, I think, are the same age. I know Buckethead's 53. Tony Hawk is either 53 or 54. And actually, seeing both of these people, now that I'm thinking on it, was really a surreal experience. You know, you always want to meet your heroes and see your heroes when you grow up, but you never stop to think that maybe one day you're going to have to see them in a state that you didn't imagine. Yeah, I mean, obviously, nobody lives forever, and when I was a kid, I didn't expect anybody to live forever, Tony Hawk being included in that, but seeing him get older is tough, man. It was kind of the same thing with Buckethead, because his hair is starting to gray around, like, the fringes of his hair, the edges of his hair, and you never see his face. If you know anything about Buckethead, you never see his face. But seeing both of these legends kind of at the same time and recognizing that something's a little bit off or different is such a surreal experience. And I wanted to tell you guys real quick, too, a funny story about a book. One of the best books I've ever read. Check it out. If you've never read it, it's Occupation Tony Hawk. Or I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. I'm baked right now. It's Tony Hawk Occupation Skateboarder. My apologies. So, Tony Hawk has a biography. If you look it up, it's probably one of the best books I've ever read. If you're somebody who likes reading, I highly recommend it. But if you're somebody who likes skateboarding, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of in-depth stuff that Tony talks about growing up. Some of it's pretty personal. He has a chapter in there about losing his father to cancer. And it's called Losing My Biggest Fan. That's a tough chapter to read, man. That's probably one of my favorite chapters, though. It really paints Tony as like a human being. You know, he's really known as a super cool dude, but that book makes him even cooler. I highly recommend you go on Amazon and get a copy. But funny enough, I have a story about when I picked up the first copy of the book. I was at a thrift store with my mom. We shopped at thrift stores a lot as kids. I was at a thrift store, and I walk in through the front door of this big brick of a building, gray, ugly building, like no windows. And I'm walking, and I end up near the book section, I guess, and there was a green tub, I'll never forget it, with an orange book, and the side said Hawk, and immediately that set off bells, because I had been a big fan of the Tony Hawk games, obviously like everybody else. I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 pretty religiously. I think the soundtrack to that game, out of all of the Tony Hawk games, set me up for my future music taste. So anyways, I grabbed this book, and I'm thumbing through the pages, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. Photos of Christian Hosoi and the Bones Brigade and Tony when he was a kid and what California looked like. But I thumbed through this book, and on the first page, you guys, was Tony Hawk's autograph. And I know that was not specific to that print because, one, it was in marker. Two, I have another copy of the book, and that signature is not in there. But yeah, I just want to say, like, seeing your heroes get old is such a weird thing. It's really surreal. He looks gray, doesn't it? I don't even like saying that. That kind of sucks saying that. But like that's just what happens when you get older. Like I'm gonna be gray. One of my favorite sections of this book is in the back. There's a section that says how you know you're Tony Hawk. 1, people ask you to do a 900 when you're walking into a coffee shop. 2, you're asked if anybody ever calls you Bony Cock. I laughed at that when I was like 11, and I'm laughing at it now. 3, you love gadgets and new technology. 4, your ankles sound like a Tim drum roll when walking up a flight of stairs. Sorry, I'm baked. 5, you go to a demo when you're ill and the crowd of thousands chants son of a bitch at you when they learn you're too sick to skate. I want to just take a second to talk about that, actually, because it's pretty hilarious.
Now, I've read this book front to back, and basically what happens is Tony travels to, I believe, what is Brazil to do a skate demo. And this is later on in his life. You know, he's already married, got the kids, everything. He's a little bit older. And he ends up getting what he believes is a super gnarly food poisoning. And this food poisoning is so gnarly that he is basically diarrheaing himself on his toilet and throwing up. And it's so violent that he ends up calling a really sketchy doctor from the area who ends up giving him a shot. He doesn't know what's in the shot, and he ends up passing on the couch. But this wasn't until after he had to present to a crowd of thousands of people that he couldn't skate because he was so sick. And they were chanting, "You son of a bitch," to him in their native tongue. And it was really funny because he goes over the dialogue between him and the presenter of the stadium where he's supposed to be skating, and he's trying to, you know, tell him that he's too sick to skate, and the guy is telling him he's a jackass for refusing to skate. And Tony's like, can't you smell how disgusting it is in here? I've literally been puking and shitting myself. Anyways, shout out to the comment that was left on the YouTube channel for letting me know that something was cut out. I actually had this snippet already in the original video, and then I realized somebody commented. I can't even find the screenshot now because my PC is so jank. I can't even save screenshots. Anyways, shout out to that comment. Much appreciation.